If you've ever had
that
this
it will
feeling-
ever occur. And of course, the people in high positions of the military are all compromised people, all members of covens and secret satanic organizations like Michael Aquino. But here we have, thinking about that and thinking about, well, when you hear war, that, troops would be sent and all that stuff. Well, this is how we're going to battle war now, because there's articles out there telling everybody if they turn down their radiators or their heaters 1 degree Celsius, they can help fight the war. Huh? Oh, I'm not kidding. Those are the articles that are out there, that civilians who aren't even in the military, we can all battle against Russia to help Ukraine by turning off our heat. What? And you might say, where does an insane notion like this come from? Well, you guessed it, the World Economic Forum, because they just posted this on their Instagram account. Oh, man. And it's almost like, wasn't there a period where they told us we were going green whether we liked it or not? I remember Biden saying it. I remember, right? We've all heard them say it where everyone kind of rolls their eyes. What they didn't realize, and people like me and you realized, was that they were going to get us to go green, not because we were going to willingly do it, because they were going to trick and convince people into going green. And that's what this war has tied into it, going green, right? Not relying on energy or oil from Russia, right? How would people not see the subliminal plot points here? Because they're blind, apparently, completely blind. Like there's mud in their eyes. So the World Economic Forum, who openly has admitted to grooming Vladimir Putin, openly, right? Klaus Schwab, the head of the World Economic Forum, openly admitting that he's groomed world leaders around the globe, or the world, or the earth, whatever you want to say. I'm pretty sure he said he groomed Putin too.
When you brought the Young Global Leaders Program here for executive education and the Schwab Fellows. But there are 2 countries in the world now in which the young global leaders have emerged. Tell us just a bit about that in terms of the governance.
Yes, actually, this notion to integrate young leaders is part of the World Economic Forum since many years. And I have to say, when I mention now names like Mrs. Merkel, even Vladimir Putin and so on, they all have been young global leaders of the World Economic Forum. When I mention now names like Mrs. Merkel, even Vladimir Putin and so on, they all have been young global leaders of the World Economic Forum.
You can use the fourth industrial revolution to create, let's say, fast-track growth for your country.
My commitment will be to add value. Will be part of the Young Leaders Initiative.
This is Merkel, Tony Blair, they were all, even President Putin, they were all young global leaders before. They were all, even President Putin, they were all young global leaders before.
So do you think that the World Economic Forum, which is his organization, and he put this up and he wants to combat Russia, if he groomed him, couldn't he come out and talk to him and say, I raised him and and we groomed him here and I must talk to him. Maybe I can stop him in his terroristic ways and stop this from occurring? Oh, of course not. But what is their notion to fight back against Putin? Not to go and send troops or anything like that, to go green. And who is the one who's been pushing this go green on everyone? The World Economic Forum. Who has groomed leaders to constantly talk about in Congress about going green? The World Economic Forum. So now they want us, the civilians, to combat the war by going green. So instead of wielding his, or being responsible, or coming out and people calling him out and saying, well, Putin was groomed in a youth organization to be a world leader by your organization. Can you comment, Mr. Schwab? No, nobody says that. And then people out there actually think that he's gone rogue, which is insane. Yeah, he's gone rogue. He's gone rogue from these heroes. He would have been put down if he went rogue. He would have went night-night. He's been built up in this position of power by the media for years and years for this. Because to get to the Great Reset and do all these things that they want to do, somebody has to be the scapegoat. Somebody's got to be the sacrificial lamb. And he clearly doesn't care. And why should he? Because just like Adolf, he'll survive all this. They'll tell us at some point that he's gone or vanished, and he'll be off somewhere else living his life, probably Antarctica. Right? But they all just happen to own Antarctica, by the way. All the countries own a piece of Antarctica. They all peace on Antarctica, but not in these other... Anyway, the show in the front of all of this stuff is there for everyone to see. I mean, it's so obvious what they're trying to do. So, for those of you in Europe, they're telling you to turn down your thermostat 1 degree. I mean, personally, you could always turn it up 10 degrees. You know what I mean? It's a little chilly out. And, if you don't want to listen to what these people say, it's always something you could do to revolt. But this is about transitioning people over to green, right? This is what it's about. They're turning this thing that they created, that they want to occur, to help push their agendas through, which is what's going on. Inflation in America, the destruction of the economy, going green, power grid shutdowns, all tie into this. So here's some of the articles. Russia's used its gas supply as an economic weapon. The West should counter with its own energy-saving measures. And all these places, right, write these articles right after the World Economic Forum posts that. So that just tells you, of course, which we already know, all these editors of these media outlets are all puppets as well, because you might not know them because they're not as known as Putin or Trudeau, right? Because they're editors. Nobody knows who the editors are or what they look like per se. These people attend Bohemian Grove, Bilderberg. They're just as important as the people who are putting their faces on TV, if not more important, because they're writing and pushing the narratives in the media. So they're all groomed from the World Economic Forum too, because as soon as they post that, all these stories come out about turning down the thermostat by 1 degree Celsius. It might not sound like much of a gesture when thousands of people are being killed in Vladimir Putin's brutal and unprovoked invasion of Ukraine, but it may be one of the few ways by which ordinary people in Europe and around the world can make an impact on the horrific events. I kid you not. That's how insane this world has gotten. So to get these agendas across, they're creating wars with their puppets who are put in positions of power around the world so that they can get these agendas across. Otherwise, do you think everyone's going green? Absolutely not. They're forcing you to go green. How can they force you to go green? By cutting the grid. Well, how can they cut the grid? How can they get people to not drive gas cars? Well, they can't just inflate the gas prices for no reason. They were trying to use the 1.9er as the excuse. Guess what? It wasn't working. So instead, they just switched over. They said, all right, well, this could make more sense. We have this in place, plan B. Although plan B was going to happen anyway, because all the dominoes and all the cards are being thrown into the table now. They're playing them all. And that was how they were going to get people to go green. But the idiots hear that stuff and they're like, no, we're just going to all every civilian's going to voluntarily give up their classic cars or their automobiles or, their beautiful Mercedes. Everybody is. And they're just going to go green. Not quite. Everyone's going to, switch over to salt. Not quite. But to get them switched over, and of course, you might say, I don't understand why. Well, they say climate change, right? Well, they blame climate change on us when in reality, they're the ones who have destroyed most of the atmosphere with chemtrails and the other crap that they spray into the sky. But I personally believe that it has everything to do with the quantum computers and what they're trying to summon and bring over, that they need to cool the atmosphere. That's my personal belief. Take it for what it's worth. So Europe is highly dependent on Russian gas. We all know this, which makes up 45% of EU gas imports, and with prices sky high, partly because of Putin's actions. An estimated 500 million a day is pouring into Russia to fight the Kremlin's war. If Europe wants to stop Putin, sanctions are needed, but so too are alternative sources of energy. So this is just, to me, is insanity that nobody is going, what do we have armies for? Why do we have NATO? Why do we have all of these groups that are supposed to be band together with armies and militaries that all of our tax money goes to? And the answer is, we already know the answer. But why are people not asking that? Why are people going, if you flew some jets over Ukraine and you put some U.S. tanks there and sent 10,000 troops over, they probably would back off when this whole thing started, right? They probably would have been like, whoa, we've got the Europe here. We've got, what else is over there? Oh, we got America. Oh, okay, well, maybe we'll step back. Because they want it to occur. Because it helps get the agenda across. So then you just have to go, what is the Army's purpose? Well, we know. They pulled out Afghanistan. Oh, the Army's purpose is to protect us here in America from an outside invasion. Actually, this purpose is to protect these leaders from us. Because when do we actually see the military come out? When they call martial law over the one-niner, over truck convoys and things like that? Or when they call the military in because there's going to be protests? That's what we need the military for? Oh, right. To protect who from who?